Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night loving kindness meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you today. There's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to talk about today. I was thinking about, because I don't have a story for after the class, and I could have had a story. I have a million of them, but something happened and I kind of wanted to talk about that, and it kind of dovetails into kind of what I'm studying right now personally. And so I want to talk about that. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot about self-care, because self-care relates directly to loving kindness. And a lot of the times the steps we take in self-care don't seem very loving. They don't seem very caring, because we've been programmed, we've been conditioned to do the opposite, which is not self-care at all. It's being a doormat, it's being, kind of run over. But really, really good self-care means having healthy boundaries. And having healthy boundaries to a lot of people who are the recipients of your actions of self-care don't seem very kind. But what you're doing is you're not buying into you're not tolerating, you're not putting up with toxic behavior. You're not putting up with toxic behavior to you, toxic behavior to others, toxic behavior in a forum. And this is all about setting healthy boundaries, and it kind of, I want to talk about that a lot specifically. And I can talk about it, before we do the class on loving kindness, or I can do it after. So whoever wants me to talk about it before, raise your hand. All right, whoever wants me to talk about it after, raise your hand. Okay, after, right. So we'll do it after. So, I'm just being stupid, guys. All right, so I haven't actually done this in a while, but I wanted to read the Buddha's instructions on loving kindness, and this is the Metta Sutta, or the Metta Sutra. And this is a beautiful, and I'm amazed, and I say this every time, but I'm amazed that these are words from 2,500 years ago. And what they speak to really is the human condition and, what causes happiness. Right? And if we know what causes suffering, we probably know what causes happiness, right? Our positive thoughts, words, and deeds. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple. And it's not even necessarily Buddhist, even though we use it in Buddhism. That motto, that phrasing actually comes from Zoroastrianism. And Zoroastrianism is the oldest monotheistic religion in the world. It's older than Christianity and Judaism and Islam and Buddhism, older than Buddhism. It's thousands and thousands of years old, and they knew it then. They knew that think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds will lead to happiness, will lead to whatever salvation you're looking for, whatever deliverance you're looking for, whatever experience of happiness or divine or God or whatever you happen to call it. Just those three things will do you a lot of good. They'll do you a lot of good. They'll take you a lot of places. And so I want to read these words from the Metta Sutta. And this is the Buddha speaking. He goes, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, those seen and unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart one should cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. That's so beautiful. And so that's a wonderful recollection for the meditation that we're going to do. And it's a wonderful way just to live your life. So these three things that we talk about in our motto, about think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, they are our foundation for happiness. Without doing these, no other teaching, no other anything is going to be really useful to you. It's not going to really have much of an effect because you're trying to build upon a shaky foundation. And so what we do in this meditation is we secure our foundation. This is a time of great fear and uncertainty. And a lot of people in times of great fear and uncertainty, they feel very ungrounded. And they're searching for some ground to stand on, something that's solid and, that they can rest their feet upon, and feel secure. And a lot of people, especially that I'm seeing now, are reaching to something that is also very shaky. It just seems solid. And so we want to build our foundation. We want to build our boundless and our pure heart by these positive words, thoughts, and actions. And that's what we can do in meditation. That's what we can do in this loving kindness meditation. This word metta has a lot of meanings, as you have heard me say. Unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, goodwill, a wish to be happy. And it's not just a wish to be happy, but it's also a wish for us and a wish for others to do the things that cause happiness. And if we all did that, if we all focused on our positive thoughts, words, and actions, this would be a lot happier place, right? Absolutely. And so that's what we're doing in this meditation, is we're really building our spiritual foundation. And so that's what we're going to do. Before we start, if there is anybody new to class, anybody who's never been to the either the Dharma Bum Temple class or the Loving Kindness class, just say hello. Just say hi in the little chat box, hit enter, and let us know you're there. Okay. So we're going to have this meditation. We're going to do this meditation, I should say. So let's get into the proper position for meditation. This position is so important. Speaking of a good foundation, so if you're sitting on a cushion like me, you just want to make sure that your hips are higher than your legs. So I'm sitting on a cushion, and I'm sitting on the forward third of a cushion so that my hips are higher than my legs. And my legs are crossed in this comfortable position, and that creates a nice solid tripod. And this kind of tripod is very secure, and it helps me to attain this, how do I want to say it? It helps me to be very still, I should say. It helps me to be very still. And that's what we're kind of aiming for. We're aiming to being very still so we can really concentrate on this wonderful heart practice. If you're seated on or in a seat, in a chair, or on the side of your bed, you just want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. Your back is nice and straight. And so if you remember anything, just try to keep your back straight. So I like to make my back super duper straight and then just kind of relax. So my shoulders are dropped, but my core is still somewhat engaged. So I'm not just kind of slumping like this, like during the meditation. But if you find yourself, kind of slumping over like that, that's okay. Just straighten up. It's not a problem. Your hands can be anywhere. So I put my hands in my legs, on my legs, or in my lap. And just wherever's comfortable is fine. As far as your eyes goes, usually in the West, it's easiest just to close our eyes. And so I just usually close my eyes. But if you don't want to do that, if that's going to freak you out, if you have some sort of PTSD where closing your eyes for an extended period of time is just going to create more anxiety, that's also okay. So you can just close them halfway, looking 45 degrees down past your nose, in this kind of soft and focused gaze. So you can do that. So just get into the position that's comfortable for you. We're going to do this meditation on loving kindness, and then we're going to have a little discussion. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box, and we'll get to it after the meditation, or just think about what question you want to ask. And even if you don't know, just say to yourself, I wonder what question I want to ask Alex after this is over, after this meditation is over. And just forget about it. And then after the meditation is over, just ask yourself again. You'll usually have a clearer head and a clearer heart, and maybe a question will come to you. All right. Get my handy dandy timer out. And let's begin. And so just allow your eyes to close. Making sure you have that seated position so that you're nice and comfortable, and you have a position that's nice and sustainable so you're not likely to move around too much. Although if you need to move, it's okay. Short movements, short mindful movements are best. Now settling into the earth. And when we sit like a Buddha. You can even imagine yourself as a Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment. Radiating kindness to the entire world. So at first, let's just start to pay attention to the breath. Focusing on the breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as we breathe. So maybe taking a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing the breath, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. Maybe even during this first few minutes, practicing smiling. And this smiling is kind of priming the pump. It's priming our mind for this practice of loving kindness. It makes it easier to get into. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. So to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to start with a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness. Someone who it's really easy to have these feelings for. You just think of this person. This person comes to mind and your heart just gets bigger and warmer. And a smile maybe even naturally comes across your face. Just thinking of all the ways they've been helpful to you, all the ways that they've been kind and loving and supported you. Maybe your mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, any other family member, a best friend. They can be living or not. So you can choose one person, you can choose lots of different people. Let's just choose one for now. And picture this person in your mind's eye. So you can repeat various phrases of loving kindness for them. Phrases like, may you be happy, and say their name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can choose one or more of those phrases, or another phrase that has a loving and a kind intention. Or you can do what it says in the Metta Sutta. You can radiate kindness. And you can picture this radiating kindness like a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. And this beam can maybe vibrate. It could be any color. It could be warm. All this for your benefactor or your benefactors. We'll just do this for the next few moments. And now shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And this is a really important part of this practice because our job here really is just to receive and to allow this loving kindness into our heart. This is where it really helps to put your hand over your heart. And you can imagine your benefactor smiling down at you, and they also have a beam of loving kindness coming from their heart to yours. And you can imagine them saying these same phrases if you want to as well. Saying, may you be happy, and say your name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And as you put your hand over your heart, notice for any resistance when your benefactor is doing this practice for you. Don't fight this resistance. Just notice that it's there. Have no opinion of this resistance. But see if you can just kind of breathe into it, just giving it a little bit of space while you're imagining your benefactor doing this practice of loving kindness for you. And maybe it softens a little. And so just for the next few minutes, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And now we can shift our focus again. So now we get to do this practice for ourselves. And so just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be healthy, safe, free from danger, which is a wish that pretty much everyone has for themselves. And this is the most important part of this meditation, being able to have the experience of loving kindness for yourself, to be able to feel that in your own heart. Because if you're able to feel this in your own heart, you wouldn't hurt anybody. Ever, at any time. So just begin to gently say these phrases of loving kindness for yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And if you want, you can still put your hand over your heart, still noticing if there's any resistance there. And smile, of course. And then finally, all this loving kindness that we've generated, we can now just give this all away to all beings in all directions, or maybe even a group of people. And again, you can repeat the phrases, you can just radiate loving kindness from your heart to theirs. However you want to do it is fine. So to end our practice, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for all beings, or whoever you want to do it for. So just open your eyes when you're ready. And just take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. My leg fell asleep, which is very strange, but it did. And yeah, so just for the next minute or two, we'll be silent and then we'll begin. If you have a question, I'll take the question now if you want. We can wait till later. Maybe I'll sit like this. So yeah, my leg fell asleep, and boy, did it hurt. It still hurts, but that's okay. You know, one of the things that, I often tell people to do is that if you have an itch, if you have a leg that's falling asleep, to just notice it. Just notice it. You don't have to do anything about it right away. It's still going to be there. And let's see how long you can go before you actually have to do something. So if you have an itch that you need to scratch, can you count to 10 before you scratch it? Like my ear was bothering me the whole time. I didn't scratch that, but I scratched something else. And so that's a really good exercise to do. Can you count? And the next time you have an itch, can you count to maybe 15 instead of counting to 10 before you scratch the itch? And if you do that after a while, you'll notice that you won't move at all. But I had to move my leg just a little bit because it really, really hurt. There's no need to be a masochist about it to make your just leg pain just be searing and super painful, and then it's just uncomfortable. Then you're no longer practicing, you're suffering, right? So it's okay to move. All right. Do we have anything?
We have one question.
All right.
So Jen asked, with so much going on in the world, it can feel like I'm not doing enough, which makes it hard to love myself. How can I bring more love to myself?
This is one of the times where I wish that you were here, because this question begs another question, or a follow-up. But I'll just try to answer this in the best way that I can. And when you look out into the world with all that's going on, there's not only the virus, there's the whole social justice movement with Black Lives Matter and Black Trans Lives mattering as well. And we're often stuck inside, and there's only so much that we can do. And so often, you feel like I'm not doing enough, so I'm not good enough, right? I'm not doing enough, so I'm not good enough. But there's only so much you can do. And this is kind of what I want to talk about healthy boundaries. Because there are things that you can do. You can donate to a worthy cause. You can sign an online petition. Whether you like them or not, it's doing something, And you can wear a mask when you go out. And you can encourage others to wear a mask when they go out. So there's things that you can do. Just that simple act of wearing a mask says that I care about me and I care about you. I care about my health. I care about your health. I want to protect my health so I can protect your health. That is such an amazing act of loving kindness, just simply wearing a mask. So, Jen, I hope that helped. And that was actually a perfect question because I want to kind of dovetail kind of into what I want to talk about today. And so the reason I want to talk about this is because of something that I saw on social media last week, on Facebook, of course. And so you already know that we live in a time of great uncertainty and fear and chaos. We do. That's just the world that we live in right now. And some people are handling it well, and some people are not handling it well at all. And I think sometimes as Buddhists or people who practice Buddhism, we want to practice Buddhism in a way that's not always the best way for these times. In other situations, yes, practice in that way. Now, no. Now is not the way. Now is a time for you, Jen, and everyone else out there to practice this radical form of self-care. And so in this exchange, and I forget what the post was about. It was about like wearing a mask. I think it was like, help yourself, help others, wear a mask. It's science. This is what science says to do, or what the science says to do. And, this one person, and there's always at least one, decided to be a contrarian just to stir the pot, just to stir it on purpose. Because there was no other reason for this particular comment. I don't remember what the comment was, but it was meant solely to stir the pot, right? And so what I noticed was that there was more and more comments, and then it was like 16 comments and like 19 comments, and like 26 comments. And they were telling this person, please stop. Don't say this anymore. This is not right. You're just causing pain. And there's this wonderful, radical way to practice self-care, in simple ways to practice radical self-care, or just any self-care in this particular situation. It's called the Unfriend Button. And this Unfriend Button should have been hit like several comments ago, because you're already in a state of agitation, of this state of fear and uncertainty, anxiety. And I think as Buddhists, we hear, we have to be patient, we have to be loving towards these people. Fuck that. Unfriend them. This isn't about them. This is about you. This is about what you need to do for yourself. What kind of healthy boundary do you need to set for yourself so that you don't experience this nonsense? The unfriend button is the most helpful button you will ever have on social media. You don't have to announce their departure. You don't have to announce that you're unfriending them. You just click the button. And that's immediate lessening of suffering. That's an immediate reduction of suffering, so you don't have to listen to their toxic nonsense. Also, don't do the thing where you say, if you feel this way, just go ahead and unfriend me now. That's just passive aggressive. But that's not useful either. You just go out and just start unfriending people when you see this kind of nonsense, because you don't need that in your life. We already live in this time of uncertainty and fear. And by kind of putting up with that, you're just saying, you're just adding to it. You're adding to the suffering instead of taking it away. And so yes, the most compassionate thing that you can do is use the unfriend button, or the block button, or the mute button, or whatever button that's out there, so that you don't have to listen to that nonsense anymore. So please use this. Take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself first is the thing that you need to take care of most. And I know, a lot of people in Buddhism, they also like to do this thing where they say, well, thank you for your opinion. I may not be in agreement with you, but I find that you're still a valuable person, and blah, 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 blah. Stop. Don't do that. That doesn't help either. There's a time and a place for that. This isn't it. And I'm not saying that those things are bad. They're not bad. But this is not the time and place for those things. One of the things that I find incredibly fascinating that relates directly to kind of what we're dealing with now is conspiracy theories. And I find the psychology of conspiracy theories ultimately interesting, because especially doing what I do and leading classes here, I'm interested to know why people feel what they feel. Why do you think that? Why do you believe all this crazy nonsense? And I look at myself and have I ever believed in any of this stuff? Well, I think I have, actually. At one point. Not like that I was in it, but I certainly could kind of see a lot of this stuff. Oh, maybe it's true. I don't know. Maybe the world is run by lizard people in human skin. I don't know. Because that's what some people believe. Maybe the earth is flat. I don't know. Because they have people who believe that the earth is flat. I mean, the sockets in my head aren't big enough for the eye roll I want to do with that right now. But people literally believe this. And now people believe this with masks. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. They believe this with masks, and they'll make up all this kind of nonsense. And these people will only look at websites that will conform to their worldview. They will only watch YouTube videos, subscribe to Facebook pages that conform to their worldview. Even though hard facts and data and science say that's not the truth, they don't care. And so why do they believe these kind of ridiculous conspiracy theories, especially in the time of coronavirus and all the stuff that's going on right now? Well, the main reason why people believe in these things is specifically because of fear and uncertainty. This is what drives them. This is what drives them, and as any other human being does, when they experience a lot of fear and uncertainty and a lot of this ungroundedness, is they try to find solid ground to stand on. And so they hear these things about, oh, it's a conspiracy and the government's trying to do this and blah, blah, blah. And that sounds really, really attractive. It's really, really juicy. It's really, really juicy. And so they just start to believe it almost as like a form of self-preservation, a form of like, grounding yourself in something, because this ungrounded feeling is so uncomfortable. Whereas Buddhists, we love to live in this ungrounded space, right? We love, if you're really a serious Buddhist practitioner, this ungrounded time is like practice. It's like a wonderful time to practice because it is so ungrounded. And so we try not to search for this ground. And so, generally we're not going to fall into this conspiracy theory as just kind of nonsense. And so, the other thing, because of this fear and uncertainty and this kind of self-preservation and this need to ground yourself, there's also something, so they believe in this kind of stuff, and there's also something that's happening. And it's called proportionality bias. And proportionality bias says that a big problem has to have a big cause. So coronavirus is a big problem. And so it has to have a big cause. And what's a big cause? Well, some government conspiracy and China hates us, and so they did it on purpose, or all these other types of things that you hear, right? About what that might be. And it's not true. There's no science behind this. And when you hear this, the mind doesn't care about facts. The mind just cares about, that must be it. That has to be it. And you would think that, it's just, uneducated people who believe this. They have so many smart people, well-educated doctors, lawyers. Not so much doctors, but lawyers and other well-educated people who believe this stuff. And even some doctors, actually. And so they'll believe all of this stuff. And then those are the people who go on social media and, they stir the pot. And then adding to that, there's a big business in trolling, in social media trolling. They have some of the biggest social media troll farms in Macedonia, the Philippines, and other places, but Macedonia is like a big one. Macedonia is a former republic of Yugoslavia. And, there was this, they were called Natural News, and they were like hippie, I shouldn't say this, like organic health, whatever, a bunch of conspiracy theorists. And they actually hired these people from Macedonia, this troll farm, to talk about, and advocate for their, supplements and other stuff that doesn't work, other natural cures, or, whatever it is, promoting like anti-vaxxers, or which is another conspiracy theory, and anything like that, and they got booted from like Twitter, they got booted from Facebook, I don't think Twitter, specifically for that. And they caught them red-handed. Oh, you're using all these troll farms and all these accounts advocating, saying what you're saying are coming from Macedonia and the Philippines. And so that adds to the suffering of the world, because a lot of these people, they don't know it's them. And so that just adds to the suffering. And so all this stuff is happening out there, and you need to be aware of it, just so you can say, no, I'm not going to listen to this. And so whenever possible, unfriend, unplug. If you really want to know what you need to do, practice loving kindness, meditate. Find a way to set really healthy boundaries for yourself. Because that's what the most compassionate people do. They have really, really healthy boundaries. Right? Listen to the scientists. It's, what we know about coronavirus is evolving. We don't know everything. So we're learning more. Know that just the simple act of wearing a mask is this incredible act of loving kindness for yourself, loving kindness for others. And you can go around, you can even walk around town and go as you go about your business, looking at every person in a mask and feeling grateful for that person. There's so many opportunities to feel grateful when you see a person wearing a mask. This psychology of conspiracy theories is fascinating to me. Just fascinating. But it does cause a lot of suffering for a lot of people, especially now. And you don't have to listen to them. Right? So protect yourself, love yourself, unfriend, and you'll be all right. Okay. So I will open it up to if you have any more questions. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you might have. We don't have a ton of time, but if you have something, happy to listen, happy to answer anything you might have. Nope, nothing? Is anybody new?
There was a few new people.
Nice.
A Cynthia and Ollie.
Nice. Well, welcome, Cynthia and Ollie. Wonderful to have you. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are. Thank you for coming. Again, wonderful to have you. We'll see you next time. Bye now.